in a minute. Come on.
I got the message.
There we go. Yep, it was just taking a while on my end. Great, we are live. All right, anybody while we're waiting for people to show up, any questions from anybody? Elaine, we're going to address yours once we get a big group because I think it's a good question and we'll give it to everybody.
Cool.
So, Keith, go right ahead. Unmute yourself.
So since I upgraded my operating system to Sequoia recently, I've been getting a weird pop-up message that says, update your software. And I click on it. It doesn't go away there's no X to get rid of it. It says your Apple Studio monitor needs a software upgrade. And I ignored it for a while and I tried doing it and nothing happened. But I'm still keep getting these pop-ups that says upgrade the software. I didn't think monitors had software.
Well, they have firmware, but they kind of call it software. So why don't you do this? Go up to your Apple logo in the upper left and come down to System Settings.
Okay.
And do you see any little red badges anywhere there?
Yeah, software update available.
Yeah, so that would be where you'd click it. I wouldn't do it during the meeting, but
Okay. Sorry, I
I
just
would
did.
I would run that software update, and that should get rid of that.
Okay. So you can update and should update firmware on computer monitors.
Absolutely, because a lot of times they're bug fixes or it said, hey, it's new or something. So yeah, definitely.
Okay. I will try doing that after
And then
the
the other thing is also if you go a lot of times if you go up to this Apple logo and you see the App Store, there may be a badge, and that'll tell you if any of your apps that you've downloaded from the App Store need updates also. And I usually keep those on automatic updates. Good question.
And
Any go ahead, Charles.
how do I download my iPad Pro to an outside hard drive?
When you say download it, you mean to store data on it or do what?
I would like to uh, have an auxiliary, an auxiliary. I bought a hard drive to use specifically for my iPad Pro, and I just can't figure out how to download it.
Well, I don't know that you can. It can be used as storage, but all of the iOS devices are designed to be backed up to the cloud. You used to be able to back them up to the computer, but that's gone away, and you back them up to the cloud. So therefore, you don't have a reason to need to back them up to a hard drive. And they really don't work that way. The computer works on having an internal, and then also it can have an external drive. So Al may have something, or somebody else may know something about it, but I don't see that as a way to do it on the iPad. You can, in fact, store stuff on it on the hard drive, like photos and things like that. But I don't know as a backup. You might be able to drag stuff there, but it's kind of limited. And part of the reason it's limited is they didn't want that to be a pathway for people to break into iPads and iPhones.
So I don't need it, is what you're saying. It's on iCloud.
Yeah, as long as you have iCloud, as long as you're backing up to the cloud, and I always recommend that you go check that. It'll usually tell you if not, But on your iPad and your iPhone, you go into system settings, the gray gear, and you go to iCloud. You tap your name at the top, go to iCloud, and then you go further in and you look at when you tap on iCloud, there'll be one that says iCloud backup. And when you tap on that, it'll tell you. And the other thing too is sometimes you'll see versions from old phones and old iPads that you want to say, oh, I don't need that anymore. But also it'll tell you when the device you're on looking at it on was last backed up.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, so that's your best bet. And I always say 3, 2, 1 backup, but in fact, the cloud is redundantly backed up, so it's highly unlikely you would ever lose the backup on the cloud.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Somebody had Bev, you had a question or a comment?
Well, yes, and then the little blurb disappeared. On my Zoom, I'm getting a little pop-up at the top that says on the reactions where you get it just says it's turned off on my camera, but the reactions they give that. So I get the pop-up all the time, and it says
Yeah, I
begin
know, and you
video.
can't X out of the pop-up. And you know what it is?
Well, I've
It's
been able to X out. It's X'd out now, but it pops up
yeah.
every single time.
I
And it
know
says
they're
it's
wanting
turned
you to be
off.
able to use it because what it does is, like, if I raise my hand like that, it should detect. Well, I don't have it on, but it detects. Like, if you give a thumbs up, it'll do
Yeah.
that reaction. Just so you know. But no, I'd rather do it manually.
If you click on the green camera icon and
Yeah.
right above it, it goes away.
Okay, yeah,
The
but I
one
have
on the
I
menu
have
bar
to do
way up
that every
top.
time. It says something reactions in Zoom is turned off. It's now turned off, so I can't read it
Yeah,
exactly. It's just
yeah.
it seems
I mean,
odd.
they
It's
really
something
need to have that disabled for Italian people because they speak with their hands so much and move them around, and there could be some messages there.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so just deal with it and turn it off.
Yeah. And Bob's trying to raise his hand and
I
it's
just
not
turned it
taking.
on to see if it
Yeah.
works.
Oh, I click, yeah, now I'm because I have the reactions but yeah.
Rich Pearson, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I've got a annoying thing coming up on my computer when I on my iPhone. When I go to do a message, uh, this this band right here comes up and it copies the text, but it is also on the black background. So I don't know
So
what that
have you
screen says.
force quit the message app?
Okay,
So hit cancel in the upper left up there. Now, yours is a Face ID phone, not a fingerprint phone, right?
correct.
Okay. From the bottom, go off the bottom of the screen, off the bezel, and just take your finger and come up about an inch and a half, and it should get a carousel. Did it? A carousel of apps? You want to bring it up and hold it. Okay. Yeah. So see where the message is on the right? Swoop that up and away. Slide it up and away. Did it go away?
Yeah,
Okay, now go ahead and swipe up all the way in the open area to get back to the home screen. Are you on? Okay, now go
yeah.
to messages and see if that problem is still there.
Okay. Yeah, it's still there.
Okay, that's weird.
It is weird and it's annoying.
And you don't have a unique keyboard on there or anything, right?
Right.
Okay, I'm going to have you do one more thing called a hard reset. So go ahead and go to your home screen by swiping up from the bottom. Now, I'm going to describe it first, and everybody else, this is a great thing. I do it at least once a month, or if something gets weird, and it's called a hard reset. So what you're going to do, and again, Rich, I'll explain it first. On the left side, you have the weird button, but then you also have the volume up and volume down are the next two buttons. And
Right.
then on the right side, you have the power button, is for lack of a better word on it.
Yeah.
You're going to press and quickly release volume up. Then you're going to press and quickly release volume down. And then you're going to immediately go over and press and hold the power button, making sure you're not also still touching those other ones. And you keep holding that, and in a few seconds, it will come up and say slide to power off. Don't do anything. Continue to hold that button until you see the Apple logo. So again, press and quickly release, volume up, press and quickly release volume down, and then immediately go over and press and hold the other button until you see the Apple logo. Disregard slide to power off. Go ahead and give that a try. That's a hard reset, and when things get weird, it's something that usually works. And if not, it may be something that hopefully would get resolved in a software update. And Bob, I saw your hand was up. Was that did that mean that it worked on you?
No, it didn't work.
Ah,
So I turned it off. I'm not going to play with it while we're in the
yeah.
meeting. So,
Well, your hand did go up on the screen.
yeah, but that was not because I was doing this.
All right, give me just 1 sec. I had a delivery to the front door that I need to make sure I get in. So hang on 1 sec. I'll be right back.
We can have Randy entertain us while he's gone.
Good idea.
Yeah. Randy must be away too. We got no reaction. Well, let's see.
Song and dance.
Well, I'm back in the same boat I was in, so
Not working for you, huh, Rich?
no, it's not.
Got to get a different set of oars.
The creek is small.
And whoever is listed just as iPad, if you want to be included in the raffle, you need to change that to your name. And if you don't know how to do that, I'm sure Mr. Mr. White or Mr. Tribbett will walk you through that.
So do I have to change my name?
No, Thomas, it says
Okay,
T.
okay.
Spencer, so we
All right.
know who it is.
Don't want to break any rules here.
That's
Just a
right.
non-rule
Thank
breaker.
you.
He just wants
Seems
to
to
make
be
sure he's
able
in the
to-
raffle.
I
But I don't think you
I've
won
got an
for a
extra
while.
iPad online too, Mary.
have it. I
Pardon?
have it. Well, I did a
Oh.
bit ago. I got a $25 one a bit
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't count Al twice. He's on
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm kind of monitoring on another device.
Oh, are you
no,
iPad?
that's good.
Yeah, it has my name on it when I look at the icon for that device.
Yeah, it says Al Trivet on his.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, okay.
iPad's gone. It was Madeline. Lynn,
Okay,
actually.
great.
Ken, for what it's worth, I still got my band on there.
Still there. Wow.
Hmm.
And can you tap in that where the band is?
No, it just very faintly shows the key that I strike.
And that's in a new email or a new text?
It's a new email, but it does it on the message as well.
Oh, it's on your oh. I wonder if you have a different keyboard. Hey, do you know how to do a screenshot on your phone?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
do a screen.
I'm not sure. This is a 16, so I don't know how to
Yeah,
do.
so what you're going to do to do a screenshot, and then once the screenshot comes up, go ahead and email or text it to me so I can get a better view of it. But to do a screenshot, you're going to take the button on the right-hand side and simultaneously press the volume up button. You'll click those at the same time, and then it will take a picture of your screen.
Okay, that did it.
Okay, go ahead and tap on it and then share it. Use the share box and then send it to me by text or email, and I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
All right. So let's we don't have to really go to my keynote. Al will be coming up soon, but first off, welcome. And we're sitting at oh, I saw 68. That's numbers of
33.
chats. That's not the number of participants. We have 33. So we have twice as many chats as we do participants. So wonderful. Welcome. And what I want to do is first, we want to see if there's any volunteer or member announcements from anyone. Okay. And then I'd like to do Q&A. We did a little bit already. Elaine sent in a question to the old, remember the purple Mac we used to have. So it was basically on the computer, on the Mac, obviously on a laptop because it has to do with the battery is there a way to set it so that it will manage the charging and not charge it to 100% all the time? And it's interesting, Elaine, it doesn't necessarily always work, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm going to share my screen. Hang on. And if I go up to system settings and I go to battery and then battery health here, and hang on, let's get my mouse good. So normal looks grayed out like you couldn't click on it, but in fact you can.
Can
So
you
if
make
you,
that bigger, Ken, so we can see it better?
I,
The whole screen? Maybe
well, am I on full screen on your Mac?
maybe not.
Yeah,
I
it's
got
a
rid of the
Zoom thing.
chat. That helps. Okay, thanks.
So you hit the circular eye to the right, and then this brings it up, battery condition. And so what I have a 2021 MacBook Pro, so I have about 11% degradation. But what you want to look at here is optimized battery charging. And is yours on, Elaine, or is it not?
I checked and it's on.
Okay, so I would turn it off and then turn it back on. And let's click learn more and see. You can read about it here too when you click the learn more. So ideally, it's supposed to learn your pattern of when you charge and when you don't charge and things like that. So and it helps for battery life to not have it be at 100% all the time. So anyway, I don't know. It seems to be weird that it's not working on mine. It used to do it. And anyway, I want to also show you on the iPhone, it's critical. And what I will do is I might be able, yeah, let's see if I can bring up my iPhone. Are you guys able to see my iPhone here?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm doing this with the screen sharing thing, so I'll control it with this. Come on. So if I go to settings and I go to battery, come on. Well, there we go. And we go not on battery health this time. we go to charging. And it's a little bit of a delay here. There we go. Oh, come on. Come on. Huh.
Brought up the charts. That's what it's supposed to do.
There we go. Oh, connection interrupted. Oh, it's probably some Wi-Fi issues on my end because I don't have the phone hardwired. So it's connecting to my, there we go. Try again. If not, I will go into, all right, I'm going to do it another way here. Oh, there we go. Let's see if it likes it now. Come on. Huh. All right, we're going to do reflector. Let me get here. Get out of the phone. Quit mirroring. Go to reflector. Go to the phone. Okay, can you see my phone?
Yes.
Okay, so come on, get out of there. So I'm on the battery screen, and if I tap charging, you can turn on optimized battery charging. But what I've done here is, for instance, I have mine set to my charge limit of 80% so that it never charges above 80%. And what I do with this is I know that because I have it plugged in and doing it. And then what I do is, for instance, I went and I was going out to do, I knew I was going to be not able to charge it most of the day and taking a bunch of photos. So before I did my next charge, I moved it up to 100%. So I was able to do that. But if you set it to 100%, you can tell it to do optimized battery charging, and then it will, when it thinks it's right, only charge it to 80%. But you have to move the limit to 100%. And then you have to wait till it finishes charging past 80 until the time you need to use it. So you turn that on. The other one you can do is you can do clean energy charging. And that's just saying that it will take, it'll use a charging routine that is more at night when the power is, when there's excess power on the grid. But anyway, again, that's battery. If you go to the settings, go to battery, and go to charging, and there's your limits there. So, and it's very similar to what they're doing on it. So the other thing you can do is if you go into battery health, you can see what your normal, what the max capacity is. In other words, my battery has not degraded all. If this says something, let's say this just said 85%, that means when you charge your phone to 100% on the phone, you are only getting 85% of what it was when it was new. Obviously, this is a fairly new phone, and I've been kind of managing my charging. When I was traveling, when I was gone on my trip, I let it go to 100% all the time. And then since I've been home and I can charge it in the car and do it or else. I almost always have my phone plugged in. If I get in my car, I've got a holder I put it right on. If I'm at home, I put it on the charger. So that's why I set mine to 80%, because I don't also have a real cycle to do. And the cycle count means that's how many discharges and charges it's done. And what that, so basically, let's say you discharge the battery halfway and then charge it back up. That's essentially a half of a cycle count. And batteries, and this brings up this web page which talks about it. but the cycle count is what happens with lithium ion batteries. And the new ones, they're so good, they last a long time.
Hey, Ken.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I posted this Apple support document regarding charging, and it states that optimized battery charging needs at least 14 days to learn your charging habits, and so it won't engage before then. Also, your phone
From
needs to,
when you turn it on, right?
yeah, I believe so. Also, your phone needs to
Okay.
experience at least 9 charges of 5 hours or more in a given location for optimized battery charging to engage. So, uh, take that under advisement as far as
Oh, so it might be GPS based then.
and that's interesting. I didn't know that until I saw this.
Yeah, I didn't either know that part. So thank you, Al. And Al will he put the link in chat and it'll
Yeah.
be emailed to you guys too. So
And that's only for the iPhone, right? Not for the MacBook.
no iPhone, it's funny on iPad you don't have the same options. So I think on my iPad I can set it to 80, but I'm not sure if it does optimization. Let me just check really quick. Oh, hang on.
But you can't do it for the laptops.
You can do it for the laptop, and that's what that optimized when
Right.
the thing we clicked that just doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah. Or maybe you need the 14 days. Who the hell knows?
Well, yeah, I've done that. So, oh no, you now have the same settings in iPad. You can do the 80% limit, but I don't think you can do yeah, I can set my, so the iPad, I'm limited. I can do an 80% limit, which is what I'm doing on my iPad and my iPhone. So, but it doesn't give you the same optimized charging capabilities. And I think probably has to do with not all iPads are always connected to the internet, so it might not be able to gather that data. So, all right. Barbara, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, my question is, I didn't quite follow whether you can do the same thing on the Mac in terms of changing it from 80% to 100%, or whether you just have to either have it
So let's
optimized or
go.
not
Let's go to the
optimized,
settings. Now I'm running Sequoia
right?
and an M1 chip, but I think it's going to be fairly similar. So I go into battery settings, and here it doesn't say charging. It says battery health is where I go. And so when I click the little circular eye, and again, it's grayed out, just like, and you can't click on normal, but when you click here, you get
Mhm.
this menu here.
Okay,
And so you can do optimized battery charging, but I cannot set it to 80% on
okay,
this one. I can
okay.
only use optimized. And then Al sent the link, which will help you to know more about how it works on the learn more.
So if you wanted it to charge to 100% so that you didn't run out of battery, you would just turn
Well,
that
then you
off.
don't turn on optimized,
Yeah, okay,
and it will always charge to 100%.
okay.
So, which I don't know why they don't have the same, because the OSs are getting so similar. Al, I'm going to send this link to you, or I'll post it in the
Yeah.
chat. Hang on, because it's the one you come up with and the learn more. There you go. Okay, good
Okay.
question, Barbara. Bev, go right ahead.
Yeah, I have an iPhone 14 Pro and its battery health is at 88%. And I have the latest
That's
operating
good for
system,
a 2-year-old phone. Oh, you have 14 Pro? Yeah, that's
14.
pretty good for a phone that might be. And does it show you your cycle count?
Well, that was where I'm headed into because it's a little different, maybe because it's a 14 instead of the latest. My under settings, it's when I go to battery, I have battery percentage and low power mode, and then battery health and charging is one choice together. And so I wasn't finding where I could kind of set it at a lower
Are you on
percentage.
iOS 18?
Yeah, but
Oh,
it's,
interesting.
I mean, I did the latest update, 18,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I mean, you definitely can run 18 on that. So, uh,
I
so
mean,
you
I
don't
wonder
have
if it's because
charging
it's
as a
an older
separate button, huh?
older phone. Yeah, it has the battery health and charging is all one section. So instead of you had yours, it was two different lines.
Right.
And so what I go into, that's where I found maximum capacity of 88%, then peak performance capability. It just seems to be boilerplate, but I wasn't finding a place where I could set it. And then if I was to set it like 80%, which is what I
Under battery health, does it give you your cycle count?
uh just says maximum capacity is at 88%.
And it doesn't say cycle count below that?
Then the next thing is peak performance capability.
Oh, okay.
Then
Yeah, I don't know.
optimized battery charging, which I have
That's
on.
weird. I
Yeah,
would think that it would be software based and not hardware based, but
yeah, perhaps. Okay. Well, and then because the other thing I'm thinking is for those at if my battery capacity, even if I said going up to 100%, it would only charge to 88%. But if I did
no, that's not.
80%,
No.
oh,
When
okay,
your battery is charged to 100%, you're only going to get 88% of the capacity of the battery. In other words,
okay,
let when you first got the phone and you charged to 100%, you were able to extract 100% of the battery. When you're at 88%, you're when you charge to 100%, it's 88% of what it
okay.
was.
And then my question springing from that is if I set the limit to say 80%, would then my net effect
It
be
would be
80% of
88%
88?
of 80. It would be 88% of 80.
Yeah, yeah. So I'd really chisel it down a bit. Yeah, because I can't get
It's
through the day
12%.
without,
I mean, it's not that big a deal. It all depends on what you're going to do,
well,
but it sounds like you can't do it anyway.
yeah, well, yeah, yeah.
If it gets
Future.
below
So,
eight,
so
if it
it's an exercise in futility.
Yep, true, true.
But
if it
88% for a 2 or 3 year old phone is really good.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm not ready to up yet.
yeah,
And
if it
actually, Apple will not, they don't usually do a replacement battery, which is, I think, $69 or $79, unless it's at 85%
Okay,
or
okay.
less.
Very good.
All right. Good questions. Anybody else have any other questions, good or bad? If not, Mr. Al Trivet, Linkmaster Supreme, always has, and he really puts this together. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of work behind this, and it's great stuff. And as he always mentions, he keeps our Facebook group very well addressed with a lot of this stuff too. So take it away, Al. It's all yours.
yeah, let me get this beast going.
We're seeing there we go. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first Apple Tech News segment of the new year. Um, Starting off here, first up, this month marks the 25th anniversary of macOS 10, which was unveiled by Steve Jobs at the Macworld Expo in January of 2000. This
Wow.
event This event marked a significant turning point for Apple as macOS 10 replaced the outdated classic macOS and introduced modern features like protected memory, multitasking, and advanced graphics. The transition was made possible by Apple's acquisition of Next, bringing Steve Jobs back to the company and incorporating Next Step's advanced operating system. Despite initial skepticism, OS 10 proved to be a success, redefining the Mac experience and setting the foundation for future Mac OS versions. Many elements introduced in the original Mac OS 10 keynote are still present in today's Mac. And this continuity underscores the lasting impact of Mac OS 10 on Apple's ecosystem and its ability to adapt to the evolving tech landscape.
There were a lot of naysayers and a lot of reluctant people on that. And
Yeah.
I think I was probably one of them a bit too, because we were so used to the Mac OS 9, and it was really a departure, but and gosh, 25 years ago, man, that's amazing. But I'll tell you, I mean, it again, it was Steve Jobs' vision of what can happen in the future and go forward. And I mean, there were
Yeah.
developers. It was tough for them back then, because everybody was so used to the other way, and it was so
Yeah.
dramatically different.
Yeah.
But it brought in the whole Unix, and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
it was
Took several iterations before to get it anything close to what we have now and stuff. But boy, I loved the look of the interface, and as they used to say, lickable. You know,
yeah.
they had it just looked clean and shiny and engaging, and it was it's a big point, uh, a clear demarcation from the old and to what we have come to expect.
And it sure had some warts in the beginning.
Yeah.
And
Oh
and
yes.
remember, you could run both, couldn't you? Wasn't there?
I don't remember if we could do that.
No, I think most of us kept like another one so we
Oh
could
yeah.
run
Oh
the
yeah.
old one. That's what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. It wasn't until several versions where, I thought it was really stable and usable, but it really it was a glance at the future, and like you say, with the Unix base there, it was much more modern operating system, and
And ultra secure.
yeah, and ultra secure. Yeah. And because it's Unix, it's been banged on a whole bunch, so it's
Yeah.
lots of folks. Yeah.
Cool. Good find. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Moving on here, on January 6th, Apple released iOS 18.2.1 and iPad OS 18.2.1. These are minor updates, so if you haven't already, consider installing them. Apple's rounding out the third batch of developer betas for the current generation, handing out new builds of iOS 18.3, iPadOS 18.3, macOS 15.3, and visionOS 2.3 for testing. This from Mac Observer. Apparently, it appears that iOS 18.3 is following a similar release pattern as iOS 17.3, and so it's likely that iOS 18.3 will see a public release near the end of January or the beginning of February, so literally right around the corner. Next up, Apple has decided to temporarily disable notification summaries for news and entertainment categories in the latest iOS. This is funny. In the latest iOS 18.3, iPad OS 18.3, and macOS Sequoia 15.3. The decision follows several issues with Apple Intelligence's AI-generated summaries, which have been criticized for providing inaccurate and misleading information. News outlets, including BBC News, have condemned these summaries as they can lead to misinformation and damage to the credibility of the sources. In response to the backlash, Apple has made it clear that these notification summaries are a beta feature and may contain errors. The company is working on improvements and plans to reintroduce the feature in a future update. Additionally, Apple has updated the style of summarized notifications to distinguish them from regular notifications by displaying them in an italicized text. Users can now also toggle notification summaries on or off directly from the lock screen.
When AI makes a mistake, it's called an hallucination.
Well, as I understand it, it wasn't looking at the entire document that gets referenced. It's more or less looking at the kind of the headlines of it. So it's drawing from a limited pool of information, and so they're going to have to go back and retool, obviously, to get it to be more accurate.
Well, and many times, like, the writer of the article isn't the one that does the headline, and then these
Yeah,
days,
exactly.
they write the headlines that aren't necessarily exactly what the article is, and that's all because of clickbait.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Next up, this from CBS News in Colorado. The Arvada Police Department has started giving away free Apple AirTags to help reduce car thefts in the area. Since their release in 2021, AirTags have proven to be effective in tracking stolen vehicles, leading to a significant decrease in car thefts. The police department held its first giveaway event on January 19th, distributing AirTags and tile trackers to community members. Each tracker came with a sticker for the vehicle, warning potential thieves that the car is equipped with a tracker and can be traced by the police if stolen.
That's the most significant part
Yeah.
of it right there.
Yeah. The AirTag owner simply shares the location with the authorities, and there are no strings attached to the AirTag giveaway that give police special tracking privileges if you're concerned about privacy after the fact. The issue has been well received by the community, and the police department believes that the cost of purchasing these trackers is justified by the potential savings in investigating and recovering stolen vehicles. The success of the program may encourage other police departments to adopt similar measures to combat car thefts.
Yeah, there's actually a very expensive piece of hardware that you can install in the car, and it has a subscription and all that, that's been around forever. And it works pretty well, but this is so simplistic. The only thing is, they're going to have to go look for where it is on the car. And the one thing is, if somebody takes off with the car, and you have an iPhone, it'll pop up on your iPhone or even on an Android and say, someone that is not you is tracking you. So that's also a really good thing, because that's designed as an anti-stalking thing. So you couldn't like slip that in someone's pocket or purse and constantly stalk on someone that doesn't know that you've given it them, because their device would pop up and say, an AirTag that is not yours is following you. I rented a U-Haul truck to move a Murphy bed out here. And as I pulled out of the parking lot at the U-Haul place, and those are private franchises and stuff, and I get 300 feet away, and a thing pops up on my iPhone. It says, an AirTag that is not yours is tracking you. And I was like, oh man, and I just cracked up. I'm going, that's great. I mean, the
Yeah.
U-Haul guy's smart enough to protect his assets like
Yeah.
that. And, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So,
I have it in both my vehicles.
yeah.
That's a
And you
good
just want to
idea.
hide them well. And
Yeah.
remember, you want to get to them too, because in a year's time, you'll need to replace the battery.
That's right. That's right.
Cool.
Moving on
But
here.
the sticker there is the biggest theft deterrent of it all, because
Yeah.
that just tells people, hey,
Yeah.
move on to an easier target.
Yeah. We're paying attention. Next up, according to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, Apple is set to bring its redesigned Mail app to the Mac with the upcoming Mac OS 15.4 update. This new Mail app, which was first introduced on the iPhone with iOS 18.2, uses AI to automatically categorize emails into primary, transactions, updates, and promotions. The feature aims to help users manage their inboxes more efficiently by prioritizing important messages and sorting less critical emails into separate categories. The redesigned Mail app has been well received on the iPhone, but its absence on the Mac and the iPad has been notable. Gurman has mentioned that the new Mail app will be coming to the iPad around the same time, likely with iPadOS 18.4 update. The expansion is expected to provide a new, consistent user interface across Apple's devices.
Before you flip the side there, Al, so you'll notice that on the left-hand side there, this person is in their inbox iCloud. Most of the time, we're all in all inboxes. But when you see primary, all you have to do is tap or click on primary, and it will go to all inboxes. What it does, it's trying to help you sort through all the mail you get. So it's super easy. If primary is the default, if you tap on primary, it goes to all inboxes, and that's what you're usually used to.
This also from Mark Gurman at Bloomberg. Apple has pretty ambitious plans for 2025, including the launch of iPhone 17, a new smart home hub, of course, an iOS 19, enhanced AI features, updates to the Apple Watch, and new iPads powered by the M5 chip. The company aims to strengthen its smart home ecosystem by integrating with Matter and Thread standards, allowing seamless connectivity between various smart home devices. This move is expected to make Apple's smart home offerings more competitive against rivals like Google and Amazon. Continuing on the topic of 2025 Apple products, this article from Mac Rumors says the company is rumored to be planning more than 20 product announcements this year. Apple's rumored smart home hub will be its second all-new product launch in as many years, following Apple Vision Pro's headset last year. Beyond that, Apple could update some products that have not received any hardware refreshes in at least a few years. That includes the iPhone SE, the AirTag, the Apple TV, HomePod Mini, and Mac Pro. Here's a recap of what to expect from Apple this year. The following products on the screen are rumored to launch before the end of June. As you can see, that would include the MacBook Air models with the M4 chip, the iPhone SE, or some are calling it the iPhone 16e. Who knows what the actual moniker is going to be? A new AirTag that supposedly has a little bit greater range. There's a new iPad Air, iPad 11, PowerBeats Pro 2, and Mac Studio with M4 Max and M4 Ultra chips. These products are rumored to launch from September to December. And that, of course, includes iPhone 17 and a new product called Scuttlebutt has it iPhone 17 Air, and it's said to be ultra thin version. We'll see how that fares. And of course, the 17 Pro, the 17 Pro Max, Apple Watch Series 11, Apple Watch Ultra 3, Apple Watch SC3, and new Apple TV, HomePod Mini, and MacBook Pro models with M5 chips. And rounding out the remaining rumors, the following products are expected to launch at some point in 2025, but the exact time frame yet to be narrowed down for these. This includes like was talked about before, the all-new smart home hub, the Mac Pro with the M4 Ultra chip, the Mac Pro, the iPad Pro with the M5 chip, and the Apple Vision Pro with the M5 chip. Now, if you're looking for a pretty good ongoing detailed 2025 product release guide, you might want to bookmark this from this link from Mac Rumors. The dates listed here are not always concrete, but they update this guide as new information and the most current rumors arrive. It also keeps some historic timeline release data. The upcoming products guide is a go-to place to view all anticipated Apple products at a glance. Apple reportedly is in discussions with Barclays and Synchrony Financial to replace Goldman Sachs as its credit card partner for the Apple Card. This comes as Goldman Sachs considers an early exit from their partnership, which was originally set to run through 2030. The potential change is driven by significant losses Goldman Sachs has faced in its consumer finance division, including a $859 million net loss in 2024. Despite challenges for Goldman Sachs, the Apple Card's gained popularity, and as of January 2024, Apple reported over 12 million cardholders, with the users earning more than $1 billion in daily cash rewards in the previous year. So I'm sure it's more now. Next up, if you're interested in trading in your old device to help offset the cost of a new one, on January 16th, Apple adjusted estimated trade-in values for selected iPhone, iPad, Mac, and Apple Watch models in the US, according to its website. Some values increased while others decreased. The changes are not too significant, with most values rising or dropping by $5 to $50. Apple is reportedly considering a return to the Wi-Fi router market, but not in the way fans might expect. According to Mark Gurman's Power On newsletter, Apple is not working on a new version of its airport wireless router. Instead, the company is developing its own in-house wireless networking chip called Proxima, which could potentially turn devices like the Apple TV or HomePod into wireless access points. This new Proxima chip is sophisticated enough to serve as a wireless router, offering a potential alternative to traditional routers. While Apple has not confirmed any specific plans to enable this functionality, the possibility has sparked excitement among users who have longed for the return of the airport router since its discontinuation in 2018. The integration of Proxima into various home devices could strengthen Apple's smart home ecosystem and provide users with a trusted Apple-designed wireless access point. Got an uphill climb there.
So, Al, on that, when I saw that, it got me thinking because there's a feature in the new ultra wide Bluetooth. For instance, it interfaces the phone uses ultra wide Bluetooth, the newest Bluetooth technology. Whereas if I walk to the back of my car and have my phone, it knows that I'm at the trunk through triangulation of the antennas, and it can open the trunk if I just wait there.
Wow.
But what I'm thinking is, and that got me thinking about this. So Wi-Fi can do directional and do, if there's two devices, they can directionalize it. So this Proxima, and if you think about it, proximity kind of comes to mind,
Sure.
that it would be a way to do home automation where either through Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or a combination would be able to tell where you are in the house, and it could do different things for you, not having to be motion sensor. But secondly, I remember there was a feature in with two HomePods where it could directionalize where the sound was optimal from the different devices for where you were sitting and stuff. So I think this, yeah, and this would be so much more than just a Wi-Fi router then, and it would be the real home hub. If you had, you'd have a mesh network set up, and you have one in one room and one in another and stuff, and it could really, that could be pretty exciting.
It's going to have to be
And I
special.
haven't read anything that'll do it. It just got my mind going,
Sure. Sure. It's going to have to be something compelling because, at this stage of the game, everyone, they've got mesh routers and, people have made investments in, home wireless stuff. It'll have to be compelling, but we'll see. We'll see if they
Exactly. And a little history on that, back to the old UFO style Apple
Yeah.
airport base stations that we had, the UFO ones. The big deal there was it had a USB port on it, so you could hook a printer up to the router and it would print for you, which was revolutionary at the time. And I can't remember if you could use that also as a hard drive for backup. I don't remember, but anyway, that was a revolution. Actually the first one though, what was really revolutionary is the first one had a modem in it and it would dial into AOL or one of those, and it was the first shared Wi-Fi of an internet connection.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
We're getting old.
yeah. Don't remind me.
Hey, Ken,
Yeah.
the new printer we just bought,
Yeah.
guess what? It's got a mesh type of Wi-Fi in it.
So it's a repeater.
It does 3 channels.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for most people that are out, like have an Arrow or
Yeah.
whatever network, is
Yeah.
gonna be nice.
That's great.
That's great. Finally tonight, a gentleman named Brent Hill, a resident of East Hampton, Massachusetts, credits his Apple Watch with saving his life after his car crashed into a neighbor's swimming pool and landed upside down. On December 16th of last year, Hill began feeling unwell while driving and subsequently blacked out. During his time, his car During this time, his car accelerated into the neighbor's garage and then into the pool. When Hill regained consciousness, he heard a voice from his Apple Watch's crash detection feature, which had automatically called emergency services. The emergency operator's voice guided Hill through the situation and helping him stay calm and provided reassurance until his first responders arrived to rescue him. Hill's neighbor also praised the Apple Watch, noting that the emergency services were already in contact with Hill when her husband dialed 911. Hill was treated for minor injuries at a nearby hospital and expressed gratitude for the life-saving technology. This incident highlights the effectiveness of Apple Watch's crash detection feature, which is obviously aided in other hazardous situations. Can't say enough about
Wow.
it. One more win.
And he did not get his batteries wet.
Yeah. Yeah. All the links generated tonight and more will be distributed in a PDF by Bob White in his normal MacNexus email blast. I will post it sooner on our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is a great forum for late-breaking curated Apple tech news and support, and we encourage everyone to come check it out.
You have a question from Randy in the chat.
Yeah, just wondering I saw Al put up the new Apple Watch coming out, and I'm still holding on to my Apple Watch 6 because it was my understanding, so please correct me if I'm wrong, that the 6 Apple Watch has one of the last scanners, sensors for what, heart, oxygen, whatever else it does. Does the new one coming out, will that have the same capabilities as my 6?
It's hard to tell.
So the 6 wasn't one of the last ones. So what this is all about, the blood oxygen sensor. And there's a company named Massimo which has patents locked up. And if you're at the hospital and you have that little finger that sometimes it's just sticky tape and stuff, look, and it's usually a Massimo brand. And it's not the same Massimo that, what was it, Target used to sell men's sportswear that was Massimo. But it all has to do with a patent and two companies that have been butting heads for a while. So the watch will still have, so except for the SE, all the watches will have the blood oxygen sensor, which gives you a percentage of oxygen saturation of your blood. But a year ago, at the end of December, Apple had to stop selling it in the US because they had a cease and desist because they couldn't come to an agreement on the patent. It's my understanding the patent will expire in 2028. So I would think as we get closer to that, it would be in Massimo's best interest to get some money from Apple out of it. But for the time being, it's not. When this first happened, I had a friend who got one from the Apple store on Amazon, and it did have it active. If you have it on your watch currently, Apple will not make it dead. You still can use it. If you buy an Apple Watch in the United States from Apple, it will not have, it'll have the sensor, but it'll be blocked by software. Okay. So when if they ever settle this, then it would just be a simple software update to update your watch. Or if you travel to Canada or Mexico or anywhere else in the world, you could buy the watch there and it will have it and it will work even when you come to the US. So yeah, I mean, Randy, it's a good point. And the heart rate sensor and all that other stuff works. It's only the blood oxygen sensor. And a blood oxygen sensor is a device you can buy for $30 if you want, and you can just have that, put it on your finger yourself. Years ago, my mom required oxygen, and when she traveled, she would do that. And at the time, that little device that's now $30 was $350 because it was pretty much only in medical places, and now it can, they're sold everywhere. I remember I got one at Fry's when Fry's was still here. So, and Amazon has them. So it depends on if you need it. And if you do have a watch that has it, it will regularly check it and will record your levels for you. So it's nice. But if you have anything where you're not oxygenating your blood well, yeah, I would encourage you to either get one or get a watch or take a trip to Mexico or take a trip to Canada and, become a smuggler. And I guess one border is probably going to be a little easier to cross for a while than the other ones. So,
Yeah. If you go into CVS or Walgreens or one of the big drugstore chains and buy that oximeter, is
or
what they call
Amazon.
it, as their house brand, it's only going to be a little bit over $20.
Yeah. And Amazon has them like crazy. I'm looking for mine right now. It's out of my reach, but anyway, and they're simple. Um, but they can fit in your pocket or purse. So, if you need that, that's a way to do it. But that's the situation on the watch. And the other thing about watch, there's been rumors for the longest time about two things coming to the Apple Watch. One is a blood sugar sensor, which they think they can use perspiration to check that. And then the other one is to have a blood pressure. And to be honest, the blood pressure, I don't know how good it would really be because, they have those wrist ones, which are not as good as the ones that go on your upper arm. So, and you don't want to have something that you might depend on and not have it be accurate. So anyway, great job, Al. As always, big hoorah, hoorah. That was wonderful. As always. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen and go to the keynote. Oh, and by the way, Al's gonna link this. It's the preview user guide. And I'm going to be going over preview and PDFs tonight. So let's go here. Yes, we've already started the recording. View, enter full screen. I'll pound through this. We've got good time here. So, and we already did tech Q&A if I remember right. So anyway, I guess I don't need to start recording twice here. Oh, I thought I got rid of this slide. Hang on here. I'm sorry. But yeah, if you're on ATT, Yahoo, or SBC Global, get rid of that as your email. It's terrible. All right. This is the logo for preview. It's got a photography loop, and preview is our built-in app for the Mac. Before I do that, I'm going to quickly go through some photos from my recent trip. And this is all about having your phone with you. So this picture on the left, you'll notice up near the top, it looks a little hazy and foggy. This is in Warsaw, and this is the Palace of Science and Culture. And I'm in a cab or an Uber going from the train station to my hotel when I first arrived there. And luckily, I saw this building over there at night, and I'm going, oh my gosh. And thank goodness the car stopped and the Uber stopped, and I was able to roll down my window. I'm on the passenger side in the back seat, and I was able to capture this incredible photo with this fog because it was raining out around it. Well, 2 days later, I'm able to capture the same thing. And to me, it's just not as exciting. And the fact that I I took all my time being able to photograph this one. Actually, after I took a tour of the building, I went up top. The building itself is mostly offices, but there's a wonderful area at the top that you get a great overlook of the city. But the big thing is have your phone with you, have it on a leash, have it always ready, because this is one of my favorite pictures because of the effect of all this. And actually, what was it? It was 6:10 in the evening. So um, the other thing this is from my hotel room, and I'm using an iPhone, and I stressed these in the last meeting, but I have this little device that clips on the phone, and it allows me to put it up against a window so I don't get the reflection off the window. The other thing is, if you're can stick, going by a window, you can open the window slightly. If you have your phone on a leash, you don't risk dropping it. So, anyway, this is Istanbul. I can't speak highly enough how incredible Turkey was. I totally underestimated that country. The most beautiful people there, and oh my gosh, I'm at one place. Well, this is one of the mosques. This has been a church, and then it was a mosque, and then it was back to a church. It's really funny. They're an Islamic country, but they're kind of like Muslim light because they drink and they do. They're really it's not it's they're very Western, and they're one of our biggest allies. They're the biggest NATO ally. In fact, they build F-15 fighters for other NATO countries by license from us. It's a very sophisticated country. I'm in one museum and I'm looking at an artifact from the 8th century BC, and right next to it is the most modern building of anything we would see in New York or in San Francisco. But I just can't speak highly enough. Now, this is an example of why you want to have a leash on your phone. So this was from I saw this first from my hotel room, but I went up to the bar at the top floor of the hotel, and these have these swing out windows that only open about 4 inches because these hotels don't want people jumping out of the hotels. So um, I to get this shot, I'm behind double pane glass, and you always get a reflection off the double pane, even if you have this thing. So I'm able to reach out underneath the glass and get my hand out there and compose this picture with my phone sticking outside the building on the 16th, 17th floor. And it was on a leash. Actually, I didn't have the leash around my neck because I couldn't get that close to it, but I wrapped the leash around my hand so that if I were to drop the phone, it wouldn't fall. So, and this is a big deal to be able to do shots like that. And this, I'm sitting on a bench, and I made sure my phone was stabilized, and I did what's called a live. I did the live photo and turned it into a long exposure, and there was a little bit of ripple in the water, and it lessened that. This is in Slovenia, and this is Bled, the BLED. And then here I am in a basket with 25 other people and a gondola, a balloon gondola, and doing a panorama at sunrise. So, take your phone with you, make it work. This is underground in Istanbul. It's called the Basilica Cistern, and it was water storage on the top of the hill for the whole town. But they had built this, and it's weird from the outside, you don't really see anything because it's all underground. And this was normally when it was being used for water supply, it would be filled up completely. But what's very interesting is all these columns were from different buildings that had been torn down or had fallen. And so basically, they scrapped the pillars and used those to build this building because this was never anything for anybody to see because it was underground. But it's become a wonderful place to go. And they put pieces of art in here and they color it and stuff. And it's a great tourist destination. This is another iPhone photo. This is very close to my house. You've probably seen this one before. This was back in, oh gosh, August or September, and it was the Northern Lights looking from a hill just a mile from my house, looking toward to the north, and this lit area over here is actually Grass Valley reflecting off the clouds. So it's a longer exposure with the iPhone. So the iPhones are great. And like they always say, what's the best camera in the world? The one you have with you. Or you can do like I do on the right here for the Eclipse. I've got all this other camera gear and stuff, but in the orange circle there, my iPhone is mounted to my tripod. So anyway, this was Yosemite a year ago, and it's an iPhone shot from
That's
there.
great.
Yeah, this one was, you know what, Al? This might have been when we were there.
Yeah, we were there at that that
This
bridge.
one was there. This was from Swinging Bridge, but the other one was newer. And I bring this up because it's the time of year for the firefall in Yosemite. And this is what's called the natural firefall. This year it's a little early. It's supposed to start around February 8th and go till about the 23rd or 22nd. And what it is the setting sun reflects on this waterfall called Horsetail Falls, and that's on El Capitan. So I got a couple reservations right now for different times. Unfortunately, it may not work because if you look in the upper right up here, this this is a 40-acre snowfield that feeds the waterfall. If there's no snow here, there's no waterfall. It's because there's no reservoir feeding it. So anyway, these are just some shots from it. And this was years ago. This was with my iPhone. And what was interesting, actually, do I have? Nope. So hang on one sec. So my big camera was zoomed in on the waterfall here, and I couldn't zoom out any farther to capture all this. So luckily my iPhone was mounted on the tripod right next to my big camera, and I was able to capture all this that's going on. And so one of my favorite photos, and it was on the iPhone. So this was going out. I was heading one morning out to my friend races cars, and we are going out to Thunder Hill. So this is by Williams, California, looking back at the Sutter Buttes at sunrise. So again, another iPhone shot.
Beautiful.
This one was out it had just rained. This is out by the old Douglas by Aerojet. This is at Douglas Road, not Douglas Boulevard in Roseville, but Grant Line and Douglas looking towards the Sierra at sunrise. And that was actually a little later in the day. I'm sorry, it was a different day because this was foggy. And just picking up things like this, just looking at barbed wire. All right, now we're going to dig into preview. So I'm going to take the biggest risk ever happens. We're going to go live. And let's just talk about preview. Preview is Apple's, hang on, let me get out of full screen mode. And we'll hide Keynote. So preview is built into every Mac, and it is why you don't need to have Adobe Reader. And it's so much better than Adobe Reader. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this web page that Al will be linking. What's really cool about these user guides, you'll notice it senses, it knows. You have to look at these in Safari. Well, it'll look in others, but it senses and knows what operating system you're using. So that's really cool about that. You can click this to get the table of contents. But I'm just going to go through some of these highlights, and then we're going to discuss preview because it's a powerhouse and it's been there for a long time. So again, Adobe Reader is the default. Many times you'll get forms online. It says, oh, click here to download Adobe Reader so you can read this PDF. If you're on a Mac, you don't have to worry about that. So a few things it does. You can fill out and sign forms. And then the nice thing is you don't print it out and then scan it and then email it to the person. You do it all within your computer, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Another thing is you can compress documents, or even sometimes, like I know when I was doing my passport picture, because I just renewed my passport. By the way, online passport renewal is super quick. And I think I had mine in my mailbox in just over 3 weeks. So, anyway, but sometimes you need to compress the size of the photo. So even though we're talking PDFs in preview, you can take it and say, instead of format, make it a JPEG, which is an image, and you can compress it and make it smaller so that it could be uploaded to websites and things. You can decide, let's say you're sending a document that you want only the person that has a password to be able to read if it's confidential. You can password protect the document.
Ken, sorry.
Yes.
Would that be if you send it to somebody who was a non-Mac? Could you do that?
So good question, Mary. So a PDF, and what PDF stands for is portable document format. And it's the same whether it's on an Android, an iPhone, a Mac, or a PC. A PDF is a PDF. So in the case like that, if you encrypted it with a password, and the way you do that is you'd send them the PDF, and then either in another message or a different email, you would say, here's the password for it, or you could call them.
Oh.
And that way, that's part of the PDF. And the PDF is a generic, it was pioneered by Adobe, but it's a standard setup. And we're lucky because to do all this on a PC, you have to buy Adobe Pro. It's not just the reader, because to be able to do all this. So we have it built in because the Apple really uses PDF everywhere it is. Now, that being said, for instance, like if you're working in Pages and you want to send someone something that you made, send it as a PDF and they'll be able to open it. It's also Windows people don't have to worry because it's virtually impossible for a PDF to have a virus embedded in it. So, and then you can do other image styles like we talked before. You can do JPEGs and things like that. You can combine PDF documents. The people on the board know that I always put the minutes and the agenda and the treasurer's report and all that, and I combine it into one PDF. And so if you have multiple PDFs, for instance, you can drop them onto the left side and you can create a multiple page PDF by just sliding the elements over into the other one. And a PDF, by the way, is a very compressed document. So if you send someone a JPEG, it can be really big. And the problem is, if you send a JPEG, which would be a picture of a document, they can't highlight the text or do anything like that. Whereas if you send it as a PDF, the text itself can be highlighted, you know, how you highlight it like that and things. It works really, really well. So I'm going to go, and this just happened because I just had some Tesla batteries installed for my house, and I had to fill out the smoke and carbon monoxide because they're coming to inspect the installation on Friday. And if I'm not here, I have to give them this, but they have a requirement that anytime you get a building permit in Lincoln, they have to verify that I have carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. So what I did is I went to that website, and it was the affidavit that said. So now if I take my cursor and I come down here, look what happens at the very bottom. This little pop-up happens, and that allows me to zoom in, zoom out, or this arrow means download that PDF. But the best one is right here. And you'll notice this logo looks very much like it has that little loop we talked about. So if I click on that, I now have opened it in preview automatically with no muss, no fuss. Now, what's really cool about that, especially if you're a person like me who has really bad handwriting and, of course, does typos even if I'm handwriting, I have the ability up here to do what's called form filling. And so if I click form filling, it finds everywhere I can put in information. It seems to think you could put something there, but that's okay. And so what I can do here is I could simply, I don't know the permit number, but I'm just going to 154743. Okay. And then I go here and I say, Ken Spencer. And I'm not going to put a lot more information in here because I don't want YouTube to bump us out. But basically, you would put in, oh, that was property address, but 123 Main Street. Okay, and you can do that. Or you can, it autofills from your thing. So that's how you do it. Now, when I did this, I found out here that this date one didn't come up. I've already got all this other stuff here. And in fact, the contractor, well, they're going to do that when Tesla comes to the inspection, they'll fill that in. But date wasn't available here. So I go up here and I have this little A. And when I click that, it creates a text box. And I can say 01-22-2025. Boom. So I did that. Now I click off and then I click on it and I drag it where I want it to go. And it goes right there. So again, I went up and I clicked on the little text box and it gives me a fresh box to type in. And then I click off and then click back on it and I put it wherever I want. Okay. So most of the time, you're going to have these blue areas that allow you to type directly in it. Okay. Any questions to this point, please? Because this is really, really cool. So, and my participant list isn't up there. Hang on. Put that over there. Great.
And I guess I do have a question. Like, if you're filling out a form for, say, like a state agency, will they accept them? Do you know? I guess that's out of your purview, so.
Well, so now there's two different things. There's online forms, which are one thing. But if it's a PDF that they want you to fill out and ultimately sign, what's beauty about this? So let's say somebody had emailed this to me. In fact, it was interesting because Tesla sent this to me, but I could tell it was attached as a JPEG because I couldn't do form fill on it. And actually the other thing is when it's a PDF, see, I can highlight different things and do all that. A PDF, by the way, is not editable though. What we're doing here, it's not called editing, it's called annotating. We're adding to it and we can put this over it. We cannot go change a PDF, okay? And that's part of the neat thing with PDFs and forms is people can't mess with it. They can't, oh, I don't like that part of the contract and take it out of there because it's whoever made the PDF. So so essentially you would go to the form if it's a PDF online and you go to it and then you click either download or open and then it's in preview and yes, you should be able to fill it out. And the cool thing is if I go up and say share, it gives me the choice of who sent it to me. Because it knows that I opened that from mail and did it. Now this one I did from the internet, so it doesn't do it. But if I do this, I simply hit mail or message, and it attaches it right to it. But we're going to go a little farther about signing it. Randy, go ahead.
Just to help everybody else out, don't give up on this. What Ken is showing is excellent. I used it for upcoming trip that Elaine and I filled out forms using this. But when I went to go print, it turned out all white. The secret is, I found out after printing one and nothing I had typed in there printed, just you have to tap on to make the blue go away. Then it will print with what you typed. So stick with it, it works.
Well, so in the case of that, what you do here is, if I go to, for instance, if I say print, you'll notice it took care of the blue. And the other thing is, and I'll show you this just on a website, for instance, we'll come back to this. For instance, so this is our MacNexus page, right? So if I go to File and I go to Print, down in the lower left of a print window, because the Apple operates in PDF, here are my options. Open in Preview, which would be Preview. Save it as a PDF. Send this in email as a PDF. And so if I open it in Preview, I can see exactly what it's going to look like to print. And then I can print this or share it or do what I want. Or I can do different things to it. So anything you can see on your screen, whether it's a Pages document, a Word document, anything, a website, anything that you can print, you hit Command P. Oops. Nope, not opened. Command P, and you have PDF ability down here, and you don't have to send it to a printer. So, Darian, go ahead with your question.
Just kind of a warning. This may not be a problem any longer, but it's easy enough for folks to check. Years and years ago, I filled out a government form at length, pages and pages. And then when I actually tried to look at the form later, nothing that I had written on my Mac showed up. It was only by copying and pasting, copying from a Word document or something like that and pasting in the information that it would actually show up. But what I typed in would not show up. And I don't know why it did that. I don't know if it's a current problem, but just to protect oneself, one might put something in and then take a look and make sure it's still appearing.
Well, and that's where I recommend, before you finish it up, and let's go back to preview, I always do Command P, and I look to see if it's filled in. And in that case, I can open it in preview, and you'll notice, boom, it's in preview with what was there. Now, the problem I've encountered is if you're online, oh, I don't know why Sequoia makes my screen bigger than I want it. Okay. So if I go over here to the original form, Lincoln, I can still fill it out here, but this is it may not work, and that's not what you want. But if you have to fill it out online, you can still, whatever's on your screen, like this one isn't letting me fill it out in Safari because it's not as a fillable form. So if it was a fillable form, I would go from here and hit P, and it should show me it's taking a picture of the screen and making it a PDF. So hopefully that will help. But yeah, always check on it before you do any more ones. What I do many times when I'm doing something like this, I'll do Command P and open it in preview to see what it looks like. And then if it looks good, hey, I can save that one and I'm good to go. But I know what she's talking about, and yeah, and that has to do sometimes with non-standard forms. And Safari is wonderful, but I found that some web designers are really lazy And so you may have to open up an alternate browser like Firefox or Brave or Chrome if you have to. So, Elaine, go ahead.
So point of clarification, if I get a PDF that's a form and I click on it in the email, it automatically opens in Adobe on my computer.
Then you need to set that so it doesn't automatically open.
Ah, so I could set it to open in preview?
Yes, as the default. So let me show you how to do that. And this will be a lesson for everybody else about files like that. So first of all, a JPEG is usually set to open in preview, not to photos, because it fires up your photos and everything. But if I go to the Finder, so here's a Finder, and I'm going to go just search for .pdf. Okay, so it's going to give me every PDF document I have here, right? Well, no, I guess not, but let's go down. So here's a bunch of PDFs. So if I take this PDF and I just click it one time, don't double click it. And then I go up to Command I, get info. And that opens up this little window. And this window is for any file you have. So if I go down here to the right in here, you can see my thing. It says, in your case, Elaine, it probably says open with Adobe Reader. So in that case, you would click here and see, I don't even have Adobe Reader on my computer because I don't need it. But what you would do would be change it to preview. And I'll once I'm done, I'll go back over this slowly because this is really important. I would change it to preview, and then I would click change all, which means anytime it's a PDF, it will change all of them to preview and make preview the default. And then all you simply do is from that point forward, if in an email you get a PDF, or if you have a file that's a PDF, you double click on it, it will open in preview. And believe me, you want that because damn Adobe Reader, it always wants to be updated. It always does this other stuff. And it's really so much better to use preview.
I should just abandon Adobe altogether, it sounds like.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could leave it there, but now you won't automatically use it. And the problem is it does itself all the time. So let's go back through that process. I go to the Finder and I go to the search magnifying glass and I type in .pdf and I say name contains. That's where I made a mistake. Or kind PDF document. If I click that, I'm only seeing PDF documents, right?
Right.
So if I click on any one of them, doesn't have to be the one you're looking for, and then I hit Command I or go up to File. Oh, there it is. Command I, it gives you the shortcut for get info. Now this is info about the file, okay? Tells you all where it's located and everything else. But we go down here to where it says open with. And if yours says preview and default, you guys are looking great. And that would be the way the most of you are. In Elaine's case, you'd want to change it to preview. It would be down here in the list somewhere. And if you change it to preview, then you make sure you hit change all. And when you hit change all, it's going to say, are you sure you want to do that? It's going to change all the files. And you say, yeah, Ken told me to. So boom, do it. And if worse comes to worse, watch what I can do. I can go to a PDF at any time. And if I control click on it, I could still come back and open it with Adobe in my preview. So control click. Now, I can do preview. And in fact, Elaine, in your case, you could say open with and come down here and hit preview just to try it. but I really recommend just changing them all to it. There's no negative to it, and it's so much better. So to finish up our form, did that answer it okay for you there, Elaine?
Yes, I can do some amount of editing in the Adobe program
Only
that
if
I
you're
have.
only if you're using Acrobat Pro.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you have Acrobat Pro, which is a paid for thing, then and you're doing some editing in PDFs, you could keep that your default, but then just use PDF if you want to fill out form. And Acrobat does a pretty good job of filling forms too. It's not bad. It's just it's an Adobe product, and trust me, Adobe is not your friend. So um, going on further with this, the beauty of this is I can do things like do a markup. For instance, if I click markup, if I'm sending this to someone and I click my markup menu and I want to just write on it, I can circle that. I can make an arrow. I can do things like that. And this gets essentially overlaid, but becomes part of the PDF. Um, you can do different things like, you can say here, and then you can type sign here. The only problem is that's going to show up on the PDF, and anyway. So I'll get rid of all of those because they're distracting. But the best part is right here where I need to sign this. So how cumbersome is this? I would have to print this out, sign it, and then scan it back into my computer to email it to them or to print it, right? So you can create a signature, for instance. And when you create a signature, also create your initials. So when I click that, I can take this and it's my signature. And then I go right here and I can adjust the size of my signature and it's stored in there. But Ken, how do I get my signature? Well, you go up here and you'll click this little, it looks like a signature, and you say create signature. And when you create a signature, you have 3 ways to do it on the Mac. And the way that works is one is a trackpad. Now, it's always tough to sign with our fingers, believe it or not. So if you have a stylus, you could use that. But what I like to do is, let me see, I'll see if this works. Okay, see how it does my name from that envelope? And then I click done. So it created this signature. So I just do it on a piece of paper. And with that piece of paper, I fold it in half and I use a pretty broad pen, and you've got that signature. Then on the flip side of that paper, I add one more signature that is my initial, because there's going to be times when you may have to sign a form. And let's see, I don't want that. I'm going to go here.
You get the famous little flags that say initial here.
Yeah. And so let's say that one was initial here. I've got that. So I've got those in here. And again, you can modify them. I want you to use a thick pen, use the piece of paper, and do the one that is when you go manage signatures. It's really hard to do the trackpad, to be
You
honest.
essentially took a picture of your signature.
I took a picture of my signature. Yeah, I got to turn that off. So let's see here. Go ahead, Al.
Al, you're muted.
You're muted, Al.
If you have a long document, um, and you want to make like bookmarks or chapters or whatever, I'm not sure what the vernacular is for a preview. How do you go about doing that? If you have a really long document, but you'd like to have some way to quickly jump from one portion of the document to another, is there a way you can do that?
I don't, yeah, I don't know, because that'd be more of a pages thing. because you're not doing any editing here. I don't think there's a way.
I mean, you're not,
I
you
think
can
there
pretty,
is. Because it shows the pages over to the left and you just
Well,
click
those are
on one.
thumbnails, but I
yeah,
don't think there's a way
yeah.
to.
What if
Oh,
you've got
yeah.
a document, a PDF that's 50,
Yeah.
60 pages long or more, and then
Well,
you
you
just,
have search.
yeah, that's true.
You can search for any word in the document.
Assuming you know what you're wanting to look for, but like if you just hand somebody over a large PDF, you send it to them, and there's a whole bunch of assorted topics or something in it, and if you had like some way of generating a table of contents, or does that fall in the realm
Well,
of
that's what they should have done.
processing? Yeah.
Well,
Now,
it's like
AI will do that for you because if it's a PDF, I can highlight. Oops, hang on, I'm in markup mode. So if it's a PDF, let me get out of markup. I could highlight everything and copy and paste it somewhere else and tell AI to summarize it. Let's see if it translate, import, writing tools. Oh, that's interesting. So the writing tools here, but see, you can't edit it. This is the AI summarize, make concise. Let's see what happens when I say summarize. So it's going to make you the summary over here, which you can copy and paste somewhere else. But yeah, I don't. It's not a so. Acrobat Pro might be able to do something like that, or the processing. Because remember, you're just trying to read a PDF here. You're trying to read and fill out a PDF is the biggest takeaway. There's other tools to do what you want it to do. So, Darian, go ahead.
On your preview, you have handy little titles or designations under each of the symbols at the top. And mine has never had that. How did you get them?
Oh, good question. So you go up here to view and tools. Oh, we'll go to tools, show inspect, no, not inspector, excuse me. It is tools.
You were in the right place to begin with.
Under view, right? And it's
See the hide toolbar on hers? It probably right now says show toolbar.
yeah, but mine's gone too.
That's not.
Well, it's got this, but there was more. I
That's
think
toolbar.
it's in the text. Show markup fold toolbar. There it is. That was these things.
What was that under?
Under edit, or I'm sorry, view,
Aha.
show markup toolbar.
Okay.
So there's toolbar, which is the top one, and the markup toolbar comes and goes to show markup. And what that means is the stuff you're going to add on the top of it.
And I maybe I haven't updated enough lately. I don't see under view show markup toolbar. Is that a more recent?
Maybe somewhere different because in Sequoia, and that's why I was trying to go around and find out where it was.
But it's a markup toolbar.
Yeah, or it'll be say something about toolbar.
I think markup for PDF's been around for a while, hasn't it? Last couple of
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
several.
but whether the toolbar shows up,
Yeah.
but I think it might even be named something different.
One other point on this. You can modify the regular toolbar to add an icon that says markup.
Yeah, if you go here
So
and
you
you
can
go to
click on it to open it.
customize toolbar, and
Yeah.
these are the things that can be on your toolbar.
Really helpful.
And form filling has actually not been there for very long.
Ah,
Okay. So
Yeah,
what I want
and
to show you also here is how to combine a PDF. So I'm going to go find a PDF.
then
And
that customized toolbar uh, thing is on most of the Apple apps, just for
right.
everybody's info.
So I'll find a PDF document. I can preview it. There it is, multiple pages. So I'm going to open this one. So now if I put these, oh, what happened to my thumbnails? View thumbnails. Wow. I don't know why they would disappear. Let me open that one. I'll open a different one. Um,
Might it matter
there we
when
go.
you created the document? Because maybe
No, it
too
was just
old.
some weird anomaly on that one. So this is one of our, from the travel presentation on the 21st, this is what Al put together for that. So if we go to our affidavit, what I have to do is, okay, normally, especially if you're doing a one-page document, the thumbnails won't be there. Yeah, and I don't know why. There we go. They're supposed to go off. Something's happening in Sequoia. But anyway, you have to turn thumbnails on. Let me find a one-page document.
You have to choose hide sidebar to get rid of them.
No, it's you turn thumbnails off and on, should be.
No, you hide the sidebar.
Well, let me get a single page document here. There's a single page. So let's open that. So a single page document does not open with the thumbnails. So you have to go up here to view and click on thumbnail. And now you've put thumbnail here. So if I want to combine these documents, I go into thumbnails and I simply click and drag this over to this other one. And now it's copied it to it. I can shut this PDF. And then if I want to put these into this other long document, I highlight them all and drag them over and put them wherever I want. And now they're all part of this big document. And again, as Bob was saying, you can hide the sidebar, but I think once it opens with multiple documents, you can't turn thumbnails off. But when you open a single page document, you have to click thumbnails to make the sidebar show up. Or you can go to view and hide sidebar or expose sidebar.
I hide them all the time to see what a finished product looks like.
Yeah. But I was just, the big thing was when you're trying to do this and then they come over here. And then once it's over here, you can print it, you can email it, whatever you want to do.
what menu was show thumbnails under?
Well, I click on view. So
Ah.
only if you're trying to show thumbnails, because it won't unshow them, you have to go over and hide the sidebar right here. But if it's a single page document, you simply have to say show thumbnails, and then it will show the single thumbnail, and then you drag it across over here. Okay, so we're getting close here. So I just want to tell you a trick on the iPhone that has to do with PDFs. So let me get the iPhone back up on the screen. Let me hide that. And when you go to shut it, it'll say, do you want to save it? And I'll say, uh, delete copy. Yeah. Okay. And I'll hide that. I'll hide that. We'll get rid of this. Good. Now we have a screen to show the iPhone. Okay. So if I go into the iPhone and I go to a Safari page, for instance, like this, well, you have the share arrow at the bottom. So if I tap the share arrow, let me see if this will make my. Okay, so if I go down, and the easiest way to a PDF is you click print. And when the print dialog comes up, I don't have my printer on there, you're traveling somewhere or something like that. You simply go and you say, you go to the share arrow, and then I can say, well, email that. And it takes that entire PDF and puts it in an email of that whole page. So rather than sending someone the link, you're trying to send them a PDF of it. So again, on the phone or the iPad, you go to the share box that shows up at the bottom, tap share, scroll down. And again, that was a multiple page website. So I go here to print. And then once I'm in print, you see all the pages. It's what, 3 pages. So I hit there, the share arrow, and then I either do it by text message or mail. If I hit text message this time, I get that, and you simply address it to whoever you want to. So that's a good one because it puts it in a PDF for you. All righty. Let me get rid of that. Fantastic. Okay. Any other questions? Good deal. So I worked on this earlier, and I think I'm going to be able to do it from my computer with voice, and we'll see for doing the drawing. Oh, we got a couple. Barbara, go ahead. Then Keith. Unmute yourself, please.
I'm
There
not
you
sure
go.
if this is, I'm not sure if this is a preview question, but I actually have a fairly new printer, which I think I can actually print from my phone and my iPad, but I haven't tried it. And I don't know how to do it.
So from the iPad or the iPhone, your printer would have to be on your wireless network.
Right.
And then let me bring my phone up again. It's not a PDF thing, but it's fine. So so if I go, for instance, to Safari, I come down to that share arrow and I go to print. When I go to print, you have to go here where it says printer and tap it, and you have to be on the same network your printer is. So make sure you're not on Xfinity or whatever it is. Now, my phone is not currently on the same as my printer, and I can, if I change it, it'll mess things up right now. But basically, if the printer's available, it will show up here.
Okay.
And you don't even have to test this. If it shows up, I guarantee you it'll print. If it doesn't show up, you need to make sure you're on the same network as the printer is.
Okay, so you wouldn't have.
And then it'll just print, and you have the option of selecting multiple pages or not. So
Okay, so you wouldn't have to first put a document into preview. You could just do it directly.
oh gosh, no.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes right from it. And again, the iPhone and the Mac are essentially, they live in PDF land anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you don't need a PDF to do it. So it'll print it, and then, but if you want it as a PDF, do what I said, and you can transfer it to your other device.
Great, thank you.
You bet. Keith, go right ahead.
A quick question. If you want to create a signature on a PDF document, can I use an Apple Pencil on a trackpad to do that?
I believe you can. You'll have to give it a whirl.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think you can. And if not, the other option was to use your iPhone and you could, or iPad, you could use it on that. And
Oh,
and it will go out and find that device and then you just sign that device.
okay. Thank you.
You bet. The piece of paper I think works the best if you have a camera. Okay, anybody else? Good. I'm going to stop share and then we're going to go. Can I get my numbers, please?
Yeah, for the attendees, it's 36.
Okay.
Looks like some couple people may have left in the last few minutes, but they were here for the most part.
Yep. And the big number?
Oh, let me see. And the big number is 238.
Thank you very much. So we're going to do our good old raffle or drawing door prize, whatever we're supposed to call it.
Right.
We'll give away 25, you guys, I mean, it's all members. Of attendees, we had 36. So we give four $25 gift cards and two $100 gift cards. Obviously, if you win it twice, you have to give one of them back, and you usually want to give back the 25 if you win 100. And then the last one is, and everybody's eligible for that, all members, not just those that were here, it's a $100 Amazon gift card. So I will attempt this. It worked earlier. We'll give it a try again. I'm just going to do a test right now. Give me a random number between 1 and 3,000.
That would be 1,996.
About 2/3 of the way. Okay, so everything's working. So I see it on my screen, and Mary will have a slight delay. I'll say okay when I see that I didn't mumble my words. So
Okay.
we're going to do the first drawings here. Give me a random number between 1 and 36.
It's 25.
That's correct.
You're not going to believe it. It's me.
Congratulations, Mary. You
Congrats.
haven't won for a
Finally
long
get
time.
something.
Yeah, thank you. And and Lisa's not here to validate, so sorry.
Yeah, well,
You got to trust her.
sure. Yeah, I see how it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you were trying to do it, you would have gone for the 100.
That's true. Good point.
Okay. Give me a random number between 1 and 36.
The answer is 14.
That's good.
That's Alfreda.
Elfreda, welcome. Glad you're back. Congratulations. You guys will get emails tonight.
Okay.
Give me a random number between 1 and 36.
The answer is 9.
Okay.
Dale Steele.
Dale, congratulations. Now for the last of the $25 gift cards. Give me a random number between 1 and 36.
It's
Oh, I clicked off onto the other. Sorry, that's my fault. I clicked on another screen. I didn't think it would shut it off. So whoever had number doesn't get it. Give me a random number between 1 and 36.
It's 15.
Well, that wasn't what they said, but that works.
And that's George Adelsberger.
Congratulations, George. All right, now for the two $100 Amazon gift cards. Give me a random number between 1 and 36.
It's 21.
That's good.
21 is, oh no, it's Ken Spencer.
I have not won in so long.
President finally gets something.
Boy,
Yep.
we got to tell Lisa to not come very often.
Yeah, really.
Woohoo!
Send it on a trip.
Yeah. All right. The last 100. Give me a random number between 1 and 36.
The answer is 35.
And that's good.
Oh, you're not going to believe it. Tom Spencer.
Wow, the Spencer's in
Thomas.
the house tonight.
Yeah.
He's won more recently than I have,
Lord.
though.
Yeah,
Congratulations, Thomas.
that's right.
Wow. 3 board members.
Okay.
Hey, if I were not a board member, I'd be questioning this, you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
So
submitted.
the last one we're going to do is all the members, and it will be between random number between 1 and 238. Give me a random number between 1 and 238.
The answer is 213.
And that was a good one. It didn't mumble my words.
213, is that what I heard?
213, yes.
That is Judy Moss.
Oh, congratulations, Judy.
Hey, Judy.
She's here sometimes, so. All right, everyone, that does it. If there's any questions, this is the time to speak up. You can unmute yourselves. Bob Ress, I don't know if you got the note. We're going to put on the agenda for the next meeting, the looking forward in the calendar for holiday dates to make sure that we look at Thanksgiving
Any
and
changes?
Christmas.
Good.
Hey,
Bob,
Jim?
it'd be those dates I sent you the email about.
All right, Bev, go ahead with your question.
It's a non-Apple question, so I'll take it to the end if
Is it a
if anyone
Tesla
else.
question?
Huh?
Is it a Tesla question?
Yeah. Well,
Great.
sort of. It's a batteries for the house backup, big backup for with the solar. And if anyone has put in the house backup batteries and any comments or tips of
Yeah, and
exploring.
mine gets inspected on Friday, but it's been working. So Elaine, are you commenting on that since you're in the
No.
solar thing? Go ahead, and we'll put off the battery thing till the end. Go ahead, Elaine.
So I now, as you know, have an iPhone 15, and I don't know if I had this feature on my last phone, but on the mail, I have an iCloud.com email address, so I get emails go right to my phone. I didn't realize that I have a junk mailbox, and somehow emails get automatically sent to my junk mailbox. I've never produced any settings to send anything there.
Sure.
So there's that question. Can you do that? And also, can you block emails, email addresses from sending you things?
Yeah, two good questions. So first off, the ones that go to junk, are they kind of spam and kind of you don't want them anyway, or are
Oh,
false positives going in there?
some of them are spam and some of them are emails that I want.
Okay, so if the spam ones are going in there, let it be. But if it's a legitimate one, go to the email of who you send it. What happens is either iCloud or whoever the email comes from, whether it be somebody sends you from a Comcast or whatever, is flagging it, thinking it might be spam. And so the junk folder is a place to look. And if you find it, go to that email and then go and set it and say not junk. And if you do that, it will learn that it's not junk, anything from that same email. Consequently, your second thing was getting mail that's spam and you want it to go in your junk folder. If you tell it it's junk, it will do it. Now, a lot of spammers will never send it from the same email address. That will only work if the email address is the same. What I recommend too is if you're getting false positives from somebody you really want to see the mail for, make sure you try to go in there and find every version from that person and tell it it's not junk and go from there. And then if worse comes to worse, go online through the browser directly to where the mail is and make sure you do the not junk and not spam there.
Where do I find the not junk option? Because I've
It's
looked,
on your
haven't.
phone.
Yeah.
So if you're in mail and you click on the mail, and you go to the swooping arrow at the bottom. Do you see the swooping arrow at the bottom of the email message?
No, I'm trying to take notes. So because I might not remember this.
Yeah.
But that's if you have to open it then though, right?
Yeah, but that's okay.
Okay.
That can't hurt. Well, you don't have to open it. So I'm pulling my phone up. So This will be instructive. Okay. Oh, and I'm not, got to share my screen. Hang on. Are you seeing my screen or not?
No.
No.
Okay. Hang on. I didn't share it early enough. There we go.
Now we're seeing you.
Yeah, and I'm bringing up my phone. So on the phone, if you're in an email and you go down here to the swooping arrow at the bottom, and when you hit the swooping arrow, you have to slide up and you see move to junk. Now, if I were in the junk folder, it would say like move away, take out of junk or something like that. Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
I do have a move to inbox.
yeah, so that would be in the junk folder, you'd found that. So,
Yep.
one other thing you can do when you have your list of emails like this, let's just say here's Rich, I'm not going to put him in junk, but if I move my mail part way, I have this more and I get the same screen and I haven't had to open the email at this point. So again, you don't slide it from right to left fast because it will just delete the message. But if you slide it easy and wait and tap more, you're going to get your same menu, either move to junk or move to inbox.
When you say slide it, do you mean your finger on
I'm
it?
taking my finger and I'm just grabbing it a little bit kind of in the middle. I'm touching it and sliding it
Okay.
slightly left, but
Okay.
not too far. If I slide it really fast, I'll show you here on this Big 5 ad. If I swipe it, well, it didn't do it, but see, I swiped it fast and it just deletes it.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And by the way, we talked about the new thing where it shows primary mail. You'll notice that and it's categorizing it. But if I hit primary, then I have my all mail or all inboxes. So that's the toggle on it. And on the Mac, in the mail, you simply go, it's up at the top on the menu bar for that, all that stuff.
Does this happen on an iPhone 15?
It has nothing to do with it being an iPhone 15. It's just
The primary? It's the part of the upgrade?
oh, well, that's part of the new iOS 18.
Okay.
Good question. All right. Darian, go ahead.
Hi, sorry to pepper you with questions.
Oh, that's fine. I don't mind it at all.
Basically the same question, only on my computer. It used to be when I got messages in junk that were not junk, there was a little icon that would say not junk, but I don't find that icon any longer, and I can't figure out how to tell my junk that something is not junk.
Are you in the junk folder?
Yes.
Well, that's interesting. Hang on. Let me go to my junk folder and click on mail. Yeah, it should be at the very top. Well, let me look here. Hang on. Yeah, in the junk folder. Do you have icons across the top or do you have
I have icons across the top.
and letters?
No letters.
Okay, so go to the middle between two of the icons.
Okay.
With your cursor, hold down the control key and click it, and you should be able to say icon and text. You can modify the bar. Yeah, I don't know why Apple doesn't have that on by default.
But
Because
it's still,
it's not like you pay extra to get the words, you know?
You have to stretch it out to the right.
Your other thing is you may have to stretch it out a little bit. And you can reposition those because what you can do is go back between all of them and click on it again, and this time say customize toolbar. And if they're not up there, you can move junk up to it or use the default toolbar.
When you customize toolbar, there's actually a not junk that you can put in the toolbar.
Right.
Yeah,
Or you can use the default toolbar at the very bottom and drag it up there, and then you should have almost everything you need.
Yeah,
Expose now when you expose the names, did not junk or not junk show up?
only junk shows up. Is there something one does
Well,
to?
are you sure you're in the junk folder?
Yes,
That's weird.
I'll mess with it. Maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah, and I would restart your computer and see if it makes a difference, because it should be now in your junk folder. Do you have some that are brown and some that are black?
Well, they're all brown
They're all brown. And
at the moment.
when you click on the message, you don't have not junk as an option.
Correct.
That's so weird.
It's
Use your
not there
email
anymore.
provider.
You can pick it. You may be able to pick it when you're setting up your headers. I don't know.
No, she has the header.
Right, but you don't have to use them all.
No, but she said it's showing up and says junk.
Right, but it doesn't say not junk.
Well, not junk and junk are the exact same icon, just depends on the state. They're not two separate icons.
Oh,
Good
okay.
thought.
So
Good thought, though.
what do you mean it depends on the state? I won't move to Nevada for this.
Okay. Well, never mind. We won't do any California jokes there. So what that button, there's not two separate buttons for not junk and junk. What happens is if you're in the junk folder, if it's working correctly and you're in the junk folder and you click on an email, not junk is your only option. And if you're in the inbox and you want to make it junk, it just says junk. It doesn't say not junk.
And the junk icon is dimmed.
Well, yeah, again, you may need to, who's your email provider?
Sonic.
Maybe
it needs a restart. I'll give that a try.
How often do you restart?
About once a week or so.
Okay, well, hopefully, has it been going on for a while?
Yes, but I haven't restarted. Well, I restarted just this week, so.
Yeah, give it a try, but otherwise Google it, because that's bizarre. And you only have one email address?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Got me on that one. And then you have iPhone and iPad?
I have an iPhone, no iPad.
So in your iPhone, does it show up in junk usually or not? You know?
Well, I don't do email on my iPhone.
Ah, okay. So there's no way to test that. So, okay.
I thank you for the little words that now are there. So
yeah, no, I to me that's so critical, and I don't know. I've always had them exposed, and Apple in one of the updates says, "Oh, we'll just take those away. People won't need that." You know. And the other thing is the scroll bar. You know, you go into settings and you make it so your scroll bar shows up all the time, because otherwise, as you go over to grab the scroll bar, it disappears. It just stupid interface things like that just shouldn't be. So.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yep, good luck with that. And if not, it might get cured in a software update, or like Al announced, we may be getting a new version of Mail here coming up, and that might help. But also go directly into Sonic's web email and see if it's putting it in. It might say spam there, or it might say junk or trash. See if it's giving it a key to say put it in junk, because you kind of have to change it there also if it's a false positive.
Well, they also have a spam catcher that's separate from the junk, just to keep life exciting.
Yeah, well, you want to check all of those and see what happens is, so Apple Mail is what's called a mail client. It goes out and checks the server for you. And if Sonic has said, oh, we think this is junk or spam, you're still going to get it, and it's going to send it to junk. And so you may need to go into the server directly through the webmail and say, oh, yes, this person is not junk or spam, and move it out and do some cleanup there, because it puts this little flag on it. And when Apple Mail sees that, it says, oh, okay, we're not analyzing it as junk, but the provider said it's junk. So when you do the unjunk thing, it may not work because the provider still puts the little flag on it. See if that makes sense. But you go directly into it, you're looking right in it. Al, go for it.
Thanks.
Just a quick request. My computer crashed about 3/4 of the way through, so I didn't get all of the chats. Could you
I'll
send me
be
the
happy to send you the chat. Thanks for asking.
problem? Thank you.
Cool. Anybody else before we bid adieu?
Bid adieu.
Got it.
Power
You
walls?
sound like Clouseau there, Al.
Any words of wisdom on power walls?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bev. So do you have solar?
I
So
have
she's asking
solar,
about, so
and
Tesla makes a thing called a power wall, and other companies, Enphase, everything. It's what's called a home storage device.
yes.
The home storage device is, well, those of you in SMUD. So first of all, a home storage device is good for at least two things major. First is if you're in an area that's prone to these power shutdowns because of the wind, or you get a lot of interruptions in service if you have overhead power lines and they go out in bad storms, a home storage battery works very well to mitigate that. And depending on how many or how large your batteries are, would be how long you can last without having electricity. Generally speaking, what happens is if your power goes out in a big winter storm, which we really haven't had too many of, knock on wood, it will you can go down and shut down your major appliances, and you wouldn't run your air conditioner, and you wouldn't be doing your electric clothes drying or anything like that to make it so the battery lasts longer. The other thing it can be used for is whether you have solar or not, you can do what's called peak shaving. And what that means is, so Bev, are you in SMUD?
Yeah.
So you have very reasonable electric rates. And no, I'm not jealous at all because I'm in PG&E, which I pay 2 to 3 times what you do for, well, excuse me, if I paid for electricity, I would be paying 2 or 3 times what you do.
Yeah.
But the power, I'd say power wall because that's Tesla's specific one, but the storage device, the battery storage devices can, so our power, the rates are different daytime versus nighttime. Generally speaking, at 11 p.m. or at midnight, the rates drop to their lowest. And so how this can be an advantage to cut down your bill is it fills the battery when the rates are the lowest, and then in the middle of the day when the rates are the highest, rather than pulling expensive electricity from the grid, it will use the electricity in your battery. So it's what's called peak shaving. In other words, you're doing less. Now, if it's coupled with a solar panel, it can help it even better because the solar can run during the day when the sun's up, and then you've stored up and not used any of the battery during the peak because you've been using your solar. And then what happens is you can use your battery at night. And then, of course, it charges up at night when the power's lower. Or if you're at work during the day and you're not using much energy at your house, the solar will fill up your battery. So they work in conjunction. If you're a PG&E customer, you don't get as much, it's not as advantageous with solar as it was years ago because and those that got into solar early that got NEM1 or NEM2, which means they have to buy it back from you at a high rate. Now they don't have to buy it back from you at a very, very high rate. They buy it back at a wholesale rate. So the battery can be effective. So, and the thing is, you have to do some calculations and figure out if the batteries work, if the battery's worth it. And you really, a battery will last, they're warranted for 10 years, but they're probably going to last 20 years. And so, or more. And so you have to make that call. Now, the other thing is you have an electric car. And when you put it size-wise, you have a Model Y or is it a 3?
A Y.
Okay, so the Model Y has an 86 kilowatt battery.
Okay.
And the one Powerwall from Tesla is 13 kilowatts. So to put it in perspective, it's what, 15% of the battery size. So it's
Okay.
yeah. So
Kind of not you're gonna spend a bunch of money, you have to buy several power walls if I wanted to charge the car once.
yeah, but you're in SMUD, right?
Yeah.
So you're best off charging your car at midnight when power rates are super
Oh,
low.
right. It probably wouldn't economic. It was my question too is how did you decide to go with the Tesla? Did you go Tesla's brand power or
Yes,
because there are
because
different ones out there and it's like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, I'm not an
and
electrical engineer.
no, you don't need to be, but what it was for me is the way theirs integrates with everything because my solar was not from Tesla.
Yeah,
My
nor is
solar
mine.
was a different thing, but it manages that, and what it does, it does all the calculations. And there's actually a new thing out, and I'm not sure if SMUD does it or not, but your battery can be, well, your battery and consequently your solar feeding the battery, when there's very high demand and they're having to buy extra electricity from Cal ISO to on the hot summer days, your battery can be what's called a VPP, a virtual power plant. And at that case, the power company will give you a lot of money for your electricity because they're making a lot of money on their electricity and they need it. So it can leverage it, and it can be, if we have really hot summers, it can be substantial and really put in and make a better metric on it. Now,
See,
if you have if let's say you needed oxygen at your house for a medical condition
Mm.
and things like that, there's some big rebates that make the battery almost free. But the other thing is, for the time being, and I think it's going to continue because it makes sense, if you any installation, just like with solar, you get a 30% federal tax credit. And if you
Act
can't use
fast,
it,
huh?
can't use it in the first year, it carries over. The $7,500 uh, on the EV car rebate is only for the year you bought the car, whereas the solar tax rebate will go and until you use it all up.
Yeah, but between so you found the Tesla brand
Well, the
cold
batteries are
storage
the best.
unit.
They don't catch fire, and the software is what does it.
Okay, you found the
It's
software
amazing,
better
and
than
it's right in
other.
your same Tesla app as it is with the car.
Okay, and so yeah, and you just found that. Okay,
Let me.
I
I'll
haven't
show you
started
because
looking at them yet, but I've
and
economically it doesn't make sense to do it. It's just be kind of a
for a single battery, you're probably going to spend about 12 grand, and for two batteries, it'll be around 20.
yeah.
And again, that's 20 years. So again, in PG&E, it makes a lot of sense. Let me show you what the solar looks like. So this is the diagram of it. And so it's basically during the day, it would be showing what's going on. So right now, I am
I'm not seeing anything about the
only,
gallery.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't share my screen. Hang
I
on.
never know if I have
Gosh,
failed to click on something, but
no, it was me.
Okay. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, now I got to get it back up again on there. Oh, come on. There we
By the
go.
way, we don't know if the federal tax credits for solar or batteries are going to remain under the new administration.
Well, as long as
Right.
First Buddy is there, they probably will.
Well, no, to be honest, Elon is not for subsidies.
Interesting.
Yeah, because And by the way, gas cars get subsidized as it is too. So, yeah, don't know about the energy side, but they will probably go away from the cars. And to be honest, that's not a bad thing because within the next 18 months, it will be less expensive. Battery prices have dropped so dramatically, it will be less expensive to buy an electric car than it will be a gas car.
Yeah.
And you know what it's like. You charge from home. I mean, you're probably spending uh, a quarter of what you would spend on gas
Oh yeah.
because when you charge at night, you have a good one. So
Well, when
anyway,
this,
when you look at this,
yeah.
go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just showing in the summertime when the sun's full up, I've my electric bill is $24, which is just the hook up to the SMUD, so I get 100% of
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I haven't paid an electric bill for 8 years, and it even covers my gas.
Oh, yeah, it does not in
My
the wintertime. It doesn't cover me for wintertime enough. Too much shade.
No, but do you,
Yeah.
over the whole year, does it pan out?
I need to have a heart
Yeah.
to heart talk with SMUD. I'm not sure if I selected
Well,
the right thing.
how
I
long
think
ago did you install your solar?
about 3 years ago.
So I'm not sure that you might be on NEM3. I'm not sure if SMUD does that. Do you know, Elaine?
I don't, and I don't live in California anymore, so I haven't been following that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's called NEM, which is net metering, and it's not beneficial, not that beneficial now, but
Yeah.
and in SMUD, realistically, um, the investment in solar and the battery, because your rates are so good and they're growing up. I mean, SMUD is their rates are going up significantly, but they're still less than half of what
Well, and
what
I
we're paying.
realized I
But
could
they're still
replace,
higher than the rest of the nation.
yeah, for the freezer contents, if I had a 4-day outage and I lost the contents of my giant freezer in the garage, I could replace its contents several times over for the price of the battery.
Absolutely. So the thing you should always look in your calculations is, does it work out and save you money because of if you're on time of use, you pay more during the day, between from
Yeah.
3 p.m. to midnight is peak, if I'm not
It
mistaken.
depends.
So
Well, we have a summer and a winter. Our summer peak
yeah,
is
but you have different
five
rates,
to
but many,
5 to 9.
yeah. So
The
anyway, but that's you can look at yours, and then you should also. A lot of times they'll have like with PG&E, they have a better rate that is higher peak, but it's cheaper at night when you charge the car. Would
Yeah.
be an EV
Well,
rate.
most,
But
yeah,
anyway,
because
just so you can see here on the screen. So since I'm not producing any solar right now, it would show it coming down and then go across here. And you can see here, there's two different things. I'm getting from the grid and it's depleting my battery. So I'm not having to draw as much from the grid because it built up my battery. And then my car
you just have
charges at
one battery.
midnight. I have two.
Okay, two. Yeah.
See, Powerwall 2X.
Oh, 2x. Okay, diagram one.
And then it'll show what I generated today. So this this is because I have a 12 and a half kilowatt 43 panel solar system. So used by my home was 600 kilowatt hours today. The Powerwall used this amount, and let's see, and the grid 20%. So I only drew that much from the grid, and you can see here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so okay, so you thought the Tesla setup was the most elegant.
well, because of this software and the fact that it makes all these calculations, and
Hmm.
and to be honest, their prices now are very competitive.
Okay.
The other thing that you have to consider, so um, if you have an outage, it's how much power the battery can put out when it does it, and it's a very high rate. And then you also have to look at the size of the battery. So 13 kilowatt. Now, part of the reason for that is uh, you don't want to go. You have to do multiple ones because you don't want to go above 13 kilowatts hours, because there's something about when you're generating, you become too much of a producer or something like that. But you can do multiple power walls and not be a problem. The other thing is, depending on when you had your solar put in, see, I could add only 10% to my solar panels without getting out of the net metering program I have.
My
So I
cousin's
didn't
in
add anything.
he's in San Jose, so under PG&E, and he has solar, but he said one of the workarounds in order for people to have their older favorable rating of those ME whatever the letters that
Right,
you
NEM.
what people have done is to charge, they've gotten like a 3 solar panels that just exclusively charge their battery, and they're not messing with
Yeah, so you can't add more than 10%. And the NEM and the batteries do not. The nice thing is, and I was very concerned about it and I researched it a lot,
yeah.
that it did not bump me out of NEM. So what happens is what if you're on NEM1 or NEM2, you're grandfathered in for 20 years from your date of connection. So I'm 8 years into it, so I have 12 years left. And then after my 20 years is up, I will I will be in essentially what they're offering now, which isn't very good. But luckily, the battery will mitigate it, and I have enough solar panels that I probably will still be okay. Because when I look at it year round, I produce more. Not just I don't My costs are zero, but I also produce more electricity than I use.
Yeah,
So
because I got in just at the end of the year before the conditions became less favorable for SMUD. SMUD's doing something similar to PG&E where,
yeah.
but
Well, and they did change the federal tax rate down to 26 at one point, and then they got it back up to 30%.
hmm. Okay.
So
Well,
I'd
that's
like
anyway,
good about
like
the elegance of the Tesla systems. Like,
oh yeah,
like it's kind of
it's
overpowering for me to make an evaluation of whose battery systems are, because I think I have Enphase or
well,
but
I have Enphase was what my microinverters were,
yeah.
and it doesn't matter. It now feeds
Yeah.
into the power wall, controls the solar now.
Okay.
That's called the gateway, and it's so much cleaner than the Enphase. But Enphase is a good company, and they do batteries, and some other people do them too. But it really, you'd have to price it and see.
Yeah. Yeah.
But don't
it also
forget
depends
kilowatt
on
hours.
it also
Don't forget
depends on
what?
what you can get locally for the battery. Not all battery installers carry all types of backup batteries.
Yeah.
So it depends a lot on what's available locally. Also, I wanted to add that someday soon, we're going to have the ability to have our electric car power our house or the
Well,
house
that's
power
already
the
here.
car.
That's
But
already here.
it's not commercially available yet. It's the technology
Yeah.
exists, but it's
No,
it's
Well,
it works. It
well, I
works right
thought that,
now. The Cybertruck does that,
but I don't think
that's
I thought
one.
I read something where like I can't
and the
plug my
Ford
elect.
Lightning does it.
But isn't there something where your standard, like my Y, that I couldn't plug the freezer into my car?
Well,
There's
there's
something.
a guy that has a workaround on that, but I don't trust that. But
Yeah, void the warranty.
there are a handful of cars now that offer it.
Yeah.
And but here's the deal. The battery in your car, if you do that, you're going to decrease the life of the battery. So when you think about how expensive the battery is in your car versus what you would do with a
I'm
home
thinking I'm
power.
thinking more for a power outage type
For
of
a
thing.
power outage, yeah. I mean,
But I
it's
don't think you can do, I thought that I read
no,
something.
you cannot officially do it on the Tesla, and a guy's got to work around, but you know what? You don't want to screw up your
No,
warranty.
no, it's just such a shame having that big fat battery set in
No,
that
I agree,
cabin.
but like I said, the Cybertruck, it's an
Yeah,
add-on to the Cybertruck. It's $400 uh, extra, and it's a great idea
yeah.
because the
Oh, yeah.
Cybertruck's like a 126 kilowatt battery. But what I find really interesting is right now they're offering free supercharging on the Cybertruck Foundation because they've got a few of them around. So you could ostensibly go to the supercharger, charge up your Cybertruck, and bring it home and run off your house with that. I think they probably put some exclusion in there, but that I thought was humorous.
Yeah. Well, thanks,
So
Ken.
yeah, the Ford Lightning does it, and there's a few. I think the Kias, if I'm not mistaken, can do it also.
Yeah, that's
But
a
do you get
real
outages a
omission.
lot?
Hmm?
Do you get outages often?
Not, no, economically, it'd just be more of the, we used to, but SMUD has done a really good job of trimming the trees. I'm on a creek and last when a lot of people had power outages, I didn't. It's a crapshoot of what tree falls on what power line and how
Yeah.
many people are out. If only we had an area that only 8 people were out and out, affected in our neighborhood, and they didn't have power for 4 days
Well,
because
yeah, they're slower to do those because they're taking care of the big outages.
yep, yep, yeah. So they
So
really hurt.
so the way I would look at it is it's an economic thing. Take a look and see if you can gain
No,
an advantage on your bill now or in the future. See, and that if that mitigates it enough to make it through the outages like that.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. All
Elaine,
right.
thanks for your input. By the way, Elaine's big in solar and she was very active. Are you active up there in it now too?
Just a little bit with the national group called the American Solar Energy Society. I'm still on a committee. They're
Good.
So
they're
what's
still
your
going strong.
what's your background, Elaine?
I have a Bachelor of Science in Natural Resource Science, and
Wait,
I ended up working at most of my career at the California Energy Commission and
okay.
energy efficiency and renewable
Ah,
energy.
yeah,
Plus, I did it in my spare time as a volunteer,
nice,
promoting,
nice, nice.
promoting solar and efficiency and all that stuff.
Do they do net metering up in Oregon?
Yes, so you'll be jealous of this. I live in Ashland, Oregon, which has its own municipal utility, and municipal utilities have different rules than the investor-owned utilities, and they can charge less for electricity. So I have solar now, and I don't have to pay electricity because I make more than I use. But before the solar, I was paying 7.5 cents a kilowatt hour.
That's amazing.
Are you at 35 cents now in PG&E?
No, I'm up to 50 something and then I'm 28 or something. But again, I've got it. I produce enough that even without the power walls that I I don't pay a bill, thank
And what
goodness.
is SMUD charging these days per kilowatt hour?
Oh, I my bill is not that far away.
You
It's
know what's
something like,
interesting is I can tell because on the Tesla screen, if I see supercharging stations, they charge you by what the time of day. They're based on the rates, and so I can get a good idea. Like Roseville Electric is better than SMUD now, and it's really low. But I was looking at some places because they finally put a supercharger up in Ely, Nevada, and I was researching online because I was trying to get one to get put up there, and there's a place there that's an independent and they're like all day long 24/7 12 cents.
So I buy it at 7.5 if I have to buy it at all, but I get reimbursed 4 cents a kilowatt hour for any excess that I make, and they true it up after 1 year, like many
Right,
places do.
that's
So
great.
I've gotten money back every year since.
Well, you know how mobbed up the CPUC is here, and NEM3 is just abysmal, and it has cratered the solar market,
I
and
know.
that's sad.
I know.
But again, the batteries are a little bit weight. Again, I was trying to future-proof myself. We never have outages because all of our power lines are underground. But they had the deal on it, and I've just said, you know what, I can, prepare for when NEM I get off NEM 1. 12 more years.
Well,
So
things may change between now and then, and they're likely to change between now and then.
yeah, absolutely. I don't think they can get much worse down here.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
I'm gonna
Elaine,
go, you guys. This has been
Take
great.
care, Elaine.
Elaine,
Thank
you
you,
want,
Ken.
or SMUD, I got my
Yes.
SMUD bill.
Yes. What do you pay per
My
kilowatt
summer
hour?
peak, this is from I couldn't find my most recent. This is my September bill. The summer peak rate was 34 cents, 34.6 cents kilowatt. Summer mid peak is 19. Off peak summer is 14 cents.
14. Okay, 14. I knew that it had been gone up to 12, but I didn't know it was up to
Yeah,
14.
well, that's off peak in the summer, so I don't have winter.
Right. And we don't, up here, we don't have time of use. I mean, our town is 22,000 people, and our utility, I think we buy hydropower from
I was just going to say yours is
Western
mostly
area
hydro
power.
up there, isn't it?
Yeah, we have hydro and some solar and some wind, and I'm not sure what else we have because we buy it from the federal sources, I guess. Anyway,
I'm going to give you EV2A. What are my rates? Here's my rate schedule. Hang on.
we don't have time of use here. It's the same rate all 24 hours a day.
Yeah, it's been nice in the summer, but I keep my house at 78 to 80 in the summer.
Yeah.
And in the winter time, I've been running I have two dual packs outside the house. One is still a electric gas furnace, and the other is a heat pump. But I keep the house around 60 degrees, 62 is if I'm splurging.
Wow.
It's
Better
nippy.
woman than I.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm actually
my gas bill
I'm
was
converting
80.
to a heat pump on my HVAC needs replacing, and so I'm going to convert to heat pump since I'm doing extra.
Are you going for the ductless split?
No, because I figure for resale that may be an issue. So I'm just basically getting I close off room. Well, again, I overproduce. So
Yeah.
and I overproduce enough that it even pays my gas bill. So I pay zero around year round.
You're
But
fortunate they allowed you to put that many panels in because I was sort of
well,
capped
yeah,
at
and
the number of
I'd only been in
panels.
the house 6 months, but I also said, oh, I'm getting 2 electric cars, and I was very lucky. So here's our rates.
I'll just say the mini split is wonderful. I don't know why it would reduce home value because it gives you a lot more flexibility and control.
I agree, but I'm in a retirement community and people that I believe in it. I love split systems, but it's just,
Are the mini splits those things that are like, well, the ones I've seen are white. They're about 3 to 4 feet.
Yes.
Yeah, and you heat and cool each individual room, which is the best way to do it. That's how they do it in the Caribbean and Europe and everything.
Europe probably. Yeah.
So here's my off-peak rates on PG&E summer and winter are 27 cents.
Wow.
My part peak are 47 and 44, and my peak are 58 and 48.
Wow.
Yeah.
That PG&E is making its customers pay for its causing those fires a few years ago.
Well, it pays its stock dividend holders too.
So
yes.
The stupidest part about the whole thing is you've never seen an old PG&E truck because their reimbursement is based on how much they spend. The more they spend, the more they tack on to the overhead. And so there's no compunction for them to save money. I mean, that's why in the heck do they have TV commercials, for God's sakes? They're a monopoly. But by the more they spend, the more they can take profits. And I'm a capitalist, but that's a monopoly and it's mobbed up and they're in cahoots with the CPUC. And that's just that's criminal.
Yep.
And
Agreed.
actually they are criminal and they got accused of it. So, but you know, I'm lucky because I got an EM1 and that I didn't care how much I spent for it. If it had cost me more money, it was I don't give PG&E a dollar, and that's how I fight it. So
Very good. Okay.
yeah.
I'm
All right,
signing off.
everybody have a good one. I got to send
Thank
Al the
you.
chat. Talk to you later.